Do we want to call to order?
We are ready whenever you are.
All right. Could we have roll call?
Yes. Chair Chazowskis,
Present.
Vice Chair Dominguez,
Present.
Commissioner Andrade,
Present.
Commissioner Mora,
Present.
Commissioner Morton, Commissioner Selden,
Present.
present, and Commissioner Vaughn.
Present.
Thank you. All commissioners are in attendance.
All right. How about we pledge allegiance? Ready? Begin.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Do we have any special presentations or proclamations?
There are none tonight.
Okay. All right. Oral communications, public comment. Do we have any public comment today?
We do have two public speakers for items not on the agenda. Peggy Walker, followed by Karen Coblentz.
Drug-free youth. We work to keep the community informed about intoxicating drug trends that are harmful for youth. So I'm here today to talk to you about Kratom. As you may know, the mayor has been interested in instituting a ban on Kratom. I have two articles I'm going to give you about what California is doing. What this is about is that the California Department of Public Health has issued warnings that the sale of Kratom and Kratom 7-OH products is unlawful and has advised consumers not to use these products. CDPH has also taken enforcement action statewide, this was in October, against retailers selling them. If found, retail outlets are required to remove these products from sale, with failure to do so resulting in red tagging, impoundment, product destruction, fines, and other penalties. Just for your information, Kratom is an opioid-like drug. 7-OH is a synthetic derived product from Kratom, which is sometimes as much as 10 times stronger. Use of both has resulted in overdose deaths. However, even though unauthorized, both Kratom and 7-OH products continue to be sold in gas stations, smoke shops, and other small retail outlets locally and across the county. To address this, Encinitas could follow the lead of other jurisdictions like Oceanside and San Diego that have issued city bans on Kratom, and Los Angeles County, which is now advising retailers to stop selling Kratom and 7-OH products, stating they cannot lawfully be marketed as a drug product, dietary supplement, or food additive. And I bring this because I know it has been an important topic for Mayor Ellers. I hope that this information will be informative to you and will help our policymakers find a way to rid Encinitas of dangerous Kratom and 7-OH products. If you have any questions about this, I hope you'll let me know. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Commissioners, Chair, Vice Chair. I'm Karen Koblenz, and I have a little shirt that says, believe. I'm simply here to ask Health and Safety to pull out every stop, unturn every stone you can to possibly help those that will have to vacate our safe parking place. I know it's a priority for me. I trust it's a priority for many. As we know, time is short. We're about 15 days. So if you know anybody, if you think you know anybody, if you have any opportunity to help, please step forward, because it is part of our community. And I believe together we can make a difference. Thank you.
Thank you.
And that's all we have for items not on the agenda.
All right, I'd like to acknowledge Lambert Ling, Teresa Roberts, Peter Wutcher, and Tom Frank. We've read your public comment, and it's been noted. So we will, are there any changes to agenda?
There are no changes to the agenda in front of you. The one online does have the template as Commissioner Morton, the chair, but it's been corrected at the agenda that's in here today.
Okay. All right, and approval for the minutes? Do we have a motion?
I'd like to just raise an issue with regards to the minutes. When we met in September, there was extensive discussion, and I believe even a motion and perhaps even a second, that we were interested in a special meeting. We never called a vote on it because scheduling issues and various things. But I did think that maybe that should make it into the minutes.
Okay.
Can you provide us with some verbiage that you would like added, please? And under what section?
Yeah, so this was, I believe, the future agenda topics, and there was a motion that I think I made to have a special meeting on the November timeframe. Yeah, that was my recollection. It's been a few months, but I don't know if anybody else remembers any of that discussion.
Yeah, at that point, I think we were trying to figure out adding the additional meetings for the fiscal year 25-26. So we've been granted those 6 meetings. We have dates for those 6 meetings. It's in the topic that you want to present for that meeting. Do you have an agenda for that?
This would have been to try to keep the ball rolling between September and now. So it's
Correct.
kind of in the rearview mirror,
Yeah.
other than recording the minutes.
Okay, so you just want it recorded?
Yeah, and I'd say if that needs a second, I would certainly second that. And as far as discussion, I certainly left the meeting last time with the thought that people were gonna find if there was an opportunity to have a meeting, we were gonna, maybe get some ideas of what would work. And it's not uncommon for, different people to be in the same meeting and walk away with different, expectations, and that happens. But I think it's worthy of certainly having in the minutes, so thank you for bringing it up.
So I'd like to move that we accept the minutes with that minor correction.
Okay, so we have a second with Commissioner Morton. All right, we will be moving into,
Excuse me.
We'll go ahead and
do you
call
wanna
for the vote real
Call the
quick.
vote, if that's necessary?
oh, sorry,
It's okay.
great. Let's call the vote on adding this to the agenda, or to the minutes.
We're doing a little bit of training here today, so apologies for the delay.
Yeah,
We're all in this together.
It was Commissioner Selden that made the motion to approve, correct?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, thank you. And then the second was from Commissioner Morton?
So the
Who would
second
like to
was,
second them?
I actually never got a second, I would
Okay.
say, from Commissioner Selden. If-
so I was,
Well, she made the motion, and then, is there a second?
Sure, absolutely.
thank
Second
you.
for that to go
okay,
through.
that's what
This motion is with the amendment, right? To clarify, this reads as motion to approve. Is this motion to approve with the amendment, or is this motion to approve?
That was part of
period?
the motion, yes. You never voted on the first, so it's all inclusive.
Could we see the text that's going to be added?
I could tell it to you.
Perfect. That'd be great.
Commissioner Vaughn suggested having a special meeting in November.
That's fine.
Thank you.
Motion passes. Thank you.
Okay, we will be moving to 8A, Commissioner Selden, Commissioner Vaughn, with the Homeless Action Plan. Basically, what the mayor and the council have given us a task. We've vetted that task. We've gone through and finalized it with the work plan for 2025, 2026, and we've divided and conquered in ad hoc committees. Commissioner Selden Vaughn will be presenting this action item on the homeless action plan. So,
Great. Thank you. And I see we have the presentation up. So can someone move it to the first, the second slide? Okay, thank you. So what we're doing is goal 3 and 4 from the homeless action plan. And this is per having it been looked at by the council, rewording by the mayor, going through all of this, and looking at what our deliverables are. And so we haven't completed any of these deliverables yet, but we're in the process of looking at these. So there should be, at some point, a public hearing to review a draft homeless action plan update, and that's something that there'll be some time the staff is working on. Public review of enforcement statistics quarterly. When that happens, this is all early, and review of code of the ordinances to see whether there are any enhancements needed on enforcement. So if you can go on to the next slide. In the course of trying to look at this issue, we've had the excellent meetings with internal people here, staff, and outside agencies, outside volunteer groups, to get input on the community and what's happening in terms of homelessness and what we can do to improve things. October 9th, we met with Patty Anders and Crystal Pugh of the city staff, looking at the issues here. And then we attended that there were two, I forget if it was a Saturday or Sunday, that there were two, I guess it would be called workshops until we're all home, that went into homeless issues. And Commissioner Vaughn was a speaker at one of those. And so we were getting a lot of input on what's going on. November 10th, we toured the Buena Creek Navigation Center. Excellent facility. And I think this happened before my involvement with the commission, but I really commend the city for the council for doing this, where the city contracts with the Buena Creek Navigation Center to provide shelter for Encinitas residents that are homeless and need that service. And so we talked to them and looked at their data collection and seeing what happens to people from Encinitas who were there. We had conversations with the new outreach staff about San Diego Rescue Mission, because that's a new partner in these efforts. And we've had outreach to different homeless neighbors, different groups that are involved with serving the homeless, and meetings with city, county, and nonprofits working on these issues. So we've been trying to get the pulse of what's happening. And so it's basically, we're looking at the combination of the service side and then the enforcement side, and what we can do to hopefully see that people who are homeless in Encinitas get homes, get services, get homes, and that the enforcement side protects businesses and residents. So that's what we're trying to work towards. And Dan, do you want to go on with the key themes?
Sure. Marie, can we have the next slide, please? So I guess the concurrent developments that have been happening, so are we on key
I
themes or
think-
concurrent developments? So
I
we don't
think,
jump
I
in?
think that,
I think maybe your printout was missing one. Do you want to do this slide or you want me to do this slide?
why don't you do it, because you're
Yeah, okay.
going.
Yeah, very good. So
add on.
while we've been doing our work as a sub-team, the actions of the city don't stop. And so some concurrent stuff that has happened simultaneous with our work. City Council initiated the municipal code ordinance updates, and they're currently on track for adoption in mid-January and implementation 30 days later. City Council approved a San Diego Rescue Mission as a contractor to do street outreach, 2 full-time employees and doing street outreach, and a third doing housing navigation. And those folks have recently hit the streets. They've been on the streets for about a week now. The JFS Safe Parking Lot program was not extended, and so it is scheduled to end at the end of the year. And then recently, the U.S. Housing and Urban Development Agency has pulled or withdrawn their NOFO, or Notice of Funding Opportunity. And this is important. This guides the funding for homeless resources, and Encinitas, as a small city, gets its funding through our Continuum of Care, which is the Regional Task Force on Homelessness. RTFH is moving ahead, trying to gather grant opportunities, but with the uncertainty of what's coming from the federal and how those will be dispersed, there's quite a bit of ambiguity in the pipeline. And then earlier this month, I think it was, City Council requested and the city manager agreed to target February or possibly March for the HAP to return to council for approval. And that is intended to inform the annual budget planning cycle. And so if we're going to fulfill our role of doing a public hearing, we'll need to do that at the February meeting. Next slide, please. Okay, so the key themes that we've sort of taken away from all of the activities that Harriet presented in terms of our activities, the loss of the street outreach and the case management that's been in place for almost all of the second half of 2025, dating well into the spring, has really caused a significant challenge to delivering the services to the clients in need. We heard this from the Sheriff's Department. They've got deputies responding, and they can't connect them to a social worker if they're willing to take services. And so hopefully, optimistically, the new folks that are now providing that street outreach work will be able to fill that gap. And I've spoken to one of them, the lead, and he is very enthusiastic. He's placed 2 people into housing in the first week that he's been on the streets. So there's clearly a backlog of opportunities here, and hopefully we'll start to see some real meaningful progress. The sub-bullets are details about how what street outreach we lost. And then from the BCNC visit, they were telling us that they've got 72% success in placing people into permanent housing through the transition process. We weren't able to verify that claim, but if true, it's really an incredibly important part of the puzzle. And clearly, we were able to observe dynamics on site. The clients were well supported by the staff. The staff was engaged and very collaborative. And then the third bullet here is the safe parking lot. The closure and imminent closure of that really has caused a fair amount of distress. I know many of the residents that live there, most of the residents that live there. And some of them have been living in the parking lot since it was at its previous location during the back end of the COVID time. Some of them work full-time, some of them are elderly, some of them are into their 80s. And losing a legal, safe place to sleep is really traumatic. And there's not really a plan in place for what to do with them. And as Karen mentioned, we're a couple weeks away from this happening, and trying to get ahead of it really is something that's really important to try to do. So, next slide, please. So forward-looking opportunities, the mayor's talked quite a bit about treating homelessness with both a carrot and a stick. And so on the carrot side of things, finding an alternative to the JFS running the safe parking lot, something that fits our budget as a city, is really an urgent priority. And there is an opportunity to achieve what I'm calling here community integration benefits. But when the parking lot was first conceived, it was regularly served by community organizations, many of them faith-based, that provided meals for the residents. And in doing so, they also provided a sense of integration to the community, welcoming, belonging, and those intangible benefits of feeling connected to the community you're living in are really, really meaningful to this population. And so by integrating the parking lot with community partners, there's really an opportunity to bridge that gap, which has been kind of missing since the parking lot moved to the community center. And then the other one is now that we have the San Diego Rescue Mission folks hitting the streets, there's an opportunity to improve coordination. We have some frontline workers, we have folks that are full-time employees and have the bandwidth to help connect clients to intake services and really be that warm handoff that's so critical as people move from one group that's helping them to the next. There are many, many really neat organizations in the city that work with this population, lots of volunteers that work really hard doing so. I see several of them in the audience. And one thing that we don't do very well is coordinate and provide people with sort of a continuity and an easy path to navigate what's a very complicated system. And then on the stick side, we have two things that are sort of open to us in our work plan. One of them is the municipal code amendments and reviewing that. In speaking with the sheriff's office, they feel pretty confident that the amendments that are underway are the right ones to do, and they don't feel a need for additional ones. And so I think our recommendation to the rest of the commission would be, let's follow that one and see what happens, but probably not a huge urgency to make further changes other than those that are underway and will be taking effect over the next couple of months. But there is an opportunity here to start publicly reviewing enforcement statistics. That's been done once at the city council level, I believe. But if we can get the police department to participate in these meetings periodically and provide enforcement statistics, that would be an avenue for us to fulfill our responsibilities in the work plan. And I think with that, that concludes our presentation. I think traditionally we'll take any clarifying questions from the commission and then open it up to public comment.
Hey, currently, I do have one question for you. The funding source currently for the safe parking program, who's tasked with that?
Yeah, so when it came before the city council earlier this month, the city council had offered to JFS $150,000 for 6 months of service. And that, I believe, would have come out of the general fund, or some people talk about some cannabis revenues or things like that as semi-dedicated. But it would have been city funds. Previously, it's been subsidized heavily by state funds, and that's one of the issues that's sort of coming into place here. The JFS wanted $600,000 to run it for 1 year. And I think City Council said that was just too expensive.
State and federal grant funding is drying up, so.
Thank you.
Do we have any other speakers on this?
You did mention clarifying question, just, I don't know if it's the right time for this, but I think there's discussion about having the public meetings that are required in the work plan in February. So is that something that we're aligned to do, as he suggested?
I think probably we should hold that to our deliberations after public comment.
All right, thank you. I'll withdraw.
I have a question regarding the San Diego, the outreach program. Are they currently offering an alternative to the parking lot, say the parking lot closing at the end of the year? Is there some direction that they're assisting these folks?
Not directly. They made one visit to the parking lot, I believe it was Friday morning at about 6 a.m., and was able to take one woman and put her into housing. So they're trying, I think, to find solutions, but it's a person-by-person basis. JFS has handed out a list of resources of other parking lots countywide that might be alternatives for folks. Nothing systematic here in Encinitas, and to the best of my knowledge, and I've asked this question as recently as Saturday of some of the clients, they haven't had any outreach from the city with regards to any suggested solutions.
And the HAP people that we have in place in the city, are they interfacing with San Diego, or are they San Diego?
So HAP, the Homeless Action Plan, is a city document.
Yeah.
Crystal Pugh is our fairly new, she started I think in August, director of homeless programs, and she reports through Patty Anders in the development department. So those were the two city staff members that we met with back in October. Mm-hmm. And at that time, they cited resource challenges in terms of working on the homeless action plan, so they couldn't really give us guidance at that time on when they would be ready. What I reported on was a conversation between the mayor and the city manager from a meeting earlier this month. With regard specifically to the San Diego Rescue Mission contract, yeah, the city contracts with the San Diego Rescue Mission. Those folks would have been the ones that were negotiating the contract. The city council approved it back in November.
Got it. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Just to add to that, I think it's that everyone recognizes that there is a gap, and that there's organizations that might be interested in filling that gap, but nothing has happened yet. And so it is frustrating. I don't know if, what we can be doing, but it's not like there's nothing. The fact that the rescue mission contract was signed, there's other things happening that are good, but the problem is it's only a couple weeks now. So that's where we're at. So it's a frustrating situation.
Great. Thank you there. Do we have any public comment?
Yes, sir. We'll start with Bob Kent, followed by Robin Kobayashi.
Good afternoon, Commission members. My name is Bob Kent, Encinitas resident. I'm here today to respectfully request that your commission support restoring the Safe Parking Program, which is an integral part of the Homeless Action Plan, at the community center, an ideal location for this vital program, which has operated successfully for almost 6 years without any incident. One key reason here is that the city has site control, and the site is ready to be utilized. We know it's being utilized by JFS now. And oftentimes finding a suitable location for these types of programs can be challenging and daunting, and can be the difference between a program happening and not happening. As mentioned earlier, until December 31st of this year, about 2 weeks, the Safe Parking Program is Encinitas' only year-round safe sleeping shelter option for people who are unfortunately living in their vehicles, many who are seniors and are only recently lost the safety
of a stable home. The Safe Parking Program is truly, truly the last rung of homelessness prevention. Its closure will create a severe service gap. The program provides a safe and stable place to sleep 7 days a week, all year round, and through case management services helps people regain their footing, providing a sense of safety in a time of upheaval, and a bridge from homelessness to safe and stable housing, again, which is a key tenet of the Homeless Action Plan. This is essential as the recently hired San Diego Rescue Mission services are valuable and necessary, but they're different. And they do not necessarily guarantee safe overnight parking 7 days a week. And with this increased enforcement, I think that's all the more reason why, if we're going to be increasing enforcement, that we do provide people who are unfortunately living in their vehicles a safe place to sleep at night here in our community. So we have two pieces of a puzzle here. We have a site, it's ready, and we have a need for continuing the successful program. But we need two other pieces, funding and an operator. So I also respectfully request that your commission support the city efforts to identify funding sources, either general funds or outside third-party funds, and create partnerships, specifically with proven, experienced, and cost-effective providers like Dreams for Change, to quickly restore the safe parking program here in Encinitas. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm here today on behalf of Chi Gordon, who can't be here today. She's currently in a skilled nursing facility recovering from a surgery. I met Chi about a year ago. She's an educated, accomplished woman who had a long work history but's disabled now. And she's unfortunately lost her housing. She was in a shared home share situation where she'd been for 5 years. She lost that about a year ago, and she's been living in her car using the safe parking program. She's been in the process of applying for housing opportunities in Encinitas. She's worked with a number of case managers. She's been on lists waiting for affordable housing for more than 6 years. I'm going to read her statement now, so you'll, I hope, get a sense of where she's at and what's going on. Thank you for taking the time to hear my statement. I'm a resident here for 20 years, and I've lived, worked, and volunteered during that time. I've lived in room rentals and house shares, and I was in my last one for 5 years, having moved in just after I had brain surgery that impacted my cognitive functioning. When my house share was no longer available in December of 2024, I was accepted into the JFS Encinitas Safe Parking Program. I need help from the appropriate city people to provide hand-holding and an opportunity to apply for new, affordable, extremely low-income units. I've had reconstructive surgery in October that required extensive immobilization. I will get out of the skilled nursing facility on January 1st of 2026. I saw on the news and on the November 19th City Council meeting that the mayor might open an Encinitas safe parking for residents and displaced people from the JFS lot. Will it be open by January 1st of 2025 or 26? I read that it's illegal to park 24/7 and to sleep in one's car on public property or private property without permission. I'd like to know if I can get an opportunity to park at City Hall or some sort of reprieve while the City Council decides what to do about safe parking. Most importantly, I need help in the process of applying for new affordable units. Thank you so much for listening to my statement.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker is Teresa Beauchamp, followed by Jim Stephen.
Chair Sosnauskas and Commissioners, I appreciate your ongoing commitment to addressing homelessness in Encinitas. I believe that, like me, you are concerned about the closure of our safe parking program on December 31st. And I want to thank Commissioners Selden and Vaughn for participating in the Until We're All Home Again forum. It was wonderful. I can tell they absorbed everything that was learned there and really appreciate them sharing that information with you. This program has been the only emergency resource to provide a safe place to sleep 365 nights of the year. I am relieved that the city is partnering with the San Diego Rescue Mission. It's important to note that their staff is unavailable outside of regular work hours. I request that you consider advising city council members to prevent a severe service gap for emergency overnight support and request that they do the following. Support city staff and council member lines in their efforts to connect with the CEO of Dreams for Change. CEO Dr. Teresa Smith is an award-winning leader in safe parking program operations in San Diego County for 16 years. Hold on to the current location. The community and senior center's parking lot has proven to be ideal. Senior participants access free lunches, and Captain Watts and the principal of neighboring Oak Crest Junior High have confirmed that there have been no negative incidents. Finally, support the current participants, ensure that they have a safe place to sleep, and the support of housing navigators working to secure eventual permanent housing. I'm so happy to hear what you shared with us, Dan. Yeah. There are safe parking programs in Vista and City Heights. However, research shows that the most successful unhoused programs support individuals staying in the community where they work, have a community, know where to find local food and shelter, showers, like Dan shared. Thank you for your time and consideration, and happy holidays.
Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Jim Stiven. I'm an Encinitas resident, and I'm here to talk about the Homeless Action Plan with a couple of comments and suggestions. First of all, I do appreciate Commissioner Selden and Vaughn's report on the status of the Homeless Action Plan and the recommendations that you put forward. I have two comments, really, two things I want to emphasize. One is that the existing Homeless Action Plan that was adopted by the City of Encinitas and the Council includes the safe parking program as one of its key elements. So in order to address the homeless problem in the City of Encinitas, the safe parking program is an integral part of it. And so my suggestion to you is that you, as the Health and Safety Commission of the city, do what you can in the weeks ahead to use your influence and your powers of communication and your responsibility to talk to members of the staff and members of the council to try to make sure that, one, that the safe parking program is included in the new Homeless Action Plan, and secondly, that action be taken presently to try to preserve the safe parking program for 2026. As was indicated, staff is currently negotiating with an organization called Dreams of Change, which is a responsible organization who have indicated in a cost-effective way that they're willing and able to manage the safe parking program in Encinitas. And so we're just asking that you do what you can to make that a reality. Thank you.
Thank you.
That was all the public speakers we have for this item.
Thank you. We're going to deliberation. Does anybody? Commissioner Braun?
Yeah, I'd just like to give a little bit of background on a couple of the topics that came up from the public. So Dreams for Change is an organization that sort of pioneered safe parking lot programs here in San Diego County. And recently, Oceanside contracted with them for a safe parking program up in Oceanside, which is kind of novel in that they are prioritizing or even restricting folks staying in the parking lot to be Oceanside residents or Oceanside affiliated people, employees, et cetera. And that kind of leverage of being able to work with these folks to make this an Encinitas institution is an opportunity for improvements to the property. And as I'd mentioned earlier, integrating that with volunteer groups providing meals and stuff like that. You could imagine this being a step forward in the kinds of program that we're offering.
Great, thank you. Thanks for clearing that up.
If I may have a follow-up on that. So in Oceanside. Hey, thank you. Follow-up to that question or that comment. So in Oceanside, they limit the use of the safe parking program to residents or staff that work in the city of Oceanside. Is that correct?
Yeah, some meaningful connection to Oceanside. I believe maybe kids that went through high school there or something like that might be eligible as well. But it's localized, customized to target the population that they intend to serve.
And currently, that is not done at the site here in Encinitas.
The sources of funding that are supporting this program require it to be a bit more open access.
Okay.
But if we're converting it over to a city-funded program, there'd be more freedom to tailor it to what the community wants.
Okay. And any idea the number of occupants each and every day at our local site?
Yeah, so it's capped at 25 households, that is vehicles, and most of those are single occupancy or a couple of double occupancies, and because of the uncertainty of the situation, they really curtailed new residents coming in over this last quarter. So they're currently running at about 50% occupancy.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Very detailed. We appreciate it.
One suggestion as a way that we could go forward. We've previously, as a commission, written letters to the city council with suggestions when there was urgency associated with our status. Clearly with the parking lot in such a state of flux, there is urgency. And so a tool that we would have available to us is to write a letter to City Council and encourage them to, have city staff do whatever they can to fill this gap and see if we can't get the Dreams for Change or a similar agency to fill the gap and minimize any dislocation to the residents that are currently there.
So is that a motion, and then I can second it?
I would be happy to make that as a motion.
Yeah, and then I second.
Great. We could,
And discuss it if you want.
yeah, I'd like to refer to Chief Gordon. Is that something that comes from us, or how does that work? I mean, if we were to submit a letter.
I think it's technically not on the agenda for tonight to discuss setting a letter to the council, so we would have to agendize that item for our next meeting, and then you guys can vote on it then.
Well, the problem with that would be that JFS would have been closed by then, right? So, I mean, that's not going to work. I just can't understand why there isn't something out there to heal the gap. And
If I could
that was the
add,
only question.
you guys can each reach out to your council members and add an email that way if you like. But technically, this is not on our agenda for tonight, so it'd be hard for us to agendize this and then move forward with it.
Chairman,
I'm not 100% on the rules, but I do believe that as a chair, you have an authorization to bring things forward, and that if you wanted this to go, we could absolutely write a letter. Like, you have the power to agendize this in this meeting.
And there is precedent for us as a commission having written the fire station issue up in Olevenhagen last year was done this way.
Yeah, we can revisit this. I'm going to have Marie go and ask the clerk now of how we do this, but you could add an agenda item at the end of this meeting and talk about it that way. And I do remember we did write a letter, but it was also part of the work plan or the workshop that we were given direction by the council, and it was on the agenda item that day to talk about that. So
This was in the prior cycle before you were involved.
I mean, okay. This agenda item was for basically a presentation only of the information that you're bringing back as an ad hoc committee, right? So we'll have Marie check on it for us, and we can possibly add an agenda item after this, a change to the agenda, and we'll get back to you with that information. But
That'd be great. I know there's a sense of urgency, and if it's possible, I think all of us would probably agree to move forward with something like that.
What I didn't know is is there any reason or a way that we can vote pending something, or that if it can be allowed, that we all feel that this is urgent and should be addressed by the council? Is there a way for us to do anything now?
If I may ask a couple additional questions. So really, what's the ask? So to bridge the gap between when the funding runs out at the end of this year and when? The end of the fiscal year? Because $150,000 is what was the figure that I heard discussed earlier.
Right.
How far is that going to go?
The proposal that City Council came back to JFS with, when it was being negotiated somewhat in open forum earlier this month, was JFS asked for a 12-month commitment and $600,000. City Council offered a 6-month commitment and $150,000.
Okay, so based on JFS numbers, 150,000 gets you 3 months. The city wants twice that for that same amount of money, right? If we do the math.
That's the math.
Yeah. Is that a reasonable plan that should we move forward with this suggestion that $150,000 is in fact available from the general fund? And will that keep the site open for 6 months to allow them to find an additional option with some of the groups mentioned earlier? Is that kind of what we're looking at?
Right. I mean, it's way beyond our scope to be allocating the actual dollars. But I think what we've heard from the public, what I've experienced personally, what we've done as a sub-team, it all points to an urgent need, something of a crisis. We heard the story of Chi. I know her. I can vouch that those are accurate representations. She's been part of our community for 20 plus years. You know, this is important. And I think that, you know, just us having some way of communicating our sentiment, our judgment to the council to support what's a public outcry, I think that's worthy of us doing. And I think that's aligned with our advisory duties.
We're only advisory.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
I just want to clarify what is being advised.
Yeah.
And I understand, and I do understand the urgency, and I see the need, certainly. I just want clarification. So thank you.
With the clarification that you're talking about, I think it would be extremely appropriate to align ourselves with the council. That would be the ask if we were able to do it. They propose what they can do, what they're financially able to do. They've given some timelines, so we know the urgency here, and I think that would be the appropriate letter that would come from this commission.
I'm going to push it over to Melissa. She talked with Pete, who's with the clerk's office.
And, unfortunately, since it's not on the agenda tonight, it would not be appropriate to add, make a motion, or send any letter on behalf of the commission.
Okay. Well, while we're having a public discussion and deliberation, could I ask my fellow commissioners to state their personal opinion on the urgency of this so that we can at least reference that in our private communications?
I'm happy to go first and say absolutely support a letter expressing the urgency of this, and that the city council find a means to support what I understand to be the current homeless action plan that's in place, it's a pivotal part of what we have, and to remove something, without giving a support to these people, and in my own personal thing, I think it comes from the stance where I want us to be, I want to support a world that I want to be in, and little efforts help, and an effort like this goes a long way to creating the kind of Encinitas that I think we should be. So absolutely would support that, and happy to show up on Wednesday and make my public comments if I can't do it as a member of the commission. So thank you very much.
I would second that, and I would also say that when this first became an issue in the city, I remember asking in a public forum here the question of the sheriff, is this causing you a problem? And no, it's just the opposite. It sort of helps us to deal with and help, help people to move on with their lives, right? It's a safe place. It's a safe place to park. So I just can't believe that the city hasn't sort of healed that gap, knowing that this was going to happen, or I probably don't know the ins and outs of how it went, so I may be speaking out of turn, but it does seem like it's an urgent, pressing issue that I think the city should deal with, for sure.
Any other speakers?
I concur that it's an issue, and absolutely, but again, I think we're doing what we can, and I'm happy to do my part and write my own personal letter to City Council, but yeah, that's all I got.
Well, I think we all realize that the need is there. We have members of the public that are coming out to share their support of this, and as commissioners, I think it's our responsibility to listen to them and certainly evaluate the topic at hand. And I agree with my fellow commissioners. Certainly there is a need, and it's urgent. We're looking at 2 weeks away. It is tragic that it's gotten to this point with, 14, 18 days to go. Don't know what the date today is, but there is a need. The issue really at hand is how you're going to fund that. We can't decide that for our council, but we can certainly say that we support it, and that is my stance. It's certainly a service that is needed for our residents, but I would also like to see some of those stipulations put in place that it be meant and designed to serve the members of this community.
Okay, I agree. I've kind of said my piece on this. What I'd like to do is possibly get a little bit more direction from the council of how this letter that we could send in this short period of time possibly be implemented to be effective. So I will personally take it upon myself to get some of that information and get it out to the commissioners here to align ourselves with what the city's made as an offer for the possibility of better success. We're all citizens here. We all care. We're a commission that is trying to make the difference, and I think that's really the only option we have at this point in time. It would have been nice to have this on the agenda a little earlier, but this is where we're at right now and what we're dealing with. So.
I guess that concludes our report, right?
All right.
It's along those lines, and I still do have the question, just are we all on board with having, it's one of our deliverables as a public hearing, and so just want to make sure that we're aligned that the public hearing that's associated with the homeless action plan, I believe, in that we're going to have that in February.
Yeah, I don't know whether you want to do it now, Steve, or you want to do it under future agenda items, but I do think that we definitely, on the February meeting, and I think it's already part of your plan, to have homelessness as a major topic for that meeting. Clearly, we need to, that's our only window to review the homeless action plan in a timely manner for the city council's request. And it's a wonderful opportunity for a first time to hear the enforcement statistics update from the police.
Yeah, we will add this to future agendas later on in the meeting. So if that's all we've got on this topic right now, we're going to move on to the next one. We're running a little bit behind right now. So,
Thank you.
We appreciate everybody being here. We appreciate your voice, and we will do what we can within the scope that we can. So thank you. We are going to move into 8B, which is Commissioner Dominguez and Commissioner Morton on the public safety element of their ad hoc. Either one of you want to start?
Yeah, Commissioner Dominguez asked that I lead the discussion, and he's under strict guidance to make sure that I don't ramble, that I stay on topic, and he's going to give me a stare if I need to curtail my thing. I do have an ask. Sorry I didn't do this before, but by chance, do you have the work plan that's available? Would you be able to put that up? And then,
Yes.
Thank you. If you could just highlight, that'd be up the top part. And then you mentioned that time is an issue. So how much time do you, in a perfect world, what do you feel?
Yeah, I'd just be brief to the point.
Okay.
You know.
We received the minutes of the 2 meetings that we've held, and so that will help us keep it really brief. But for the public, what I'll highlight is we are the safety, I believe is our name, ad hoc committee, ad hoc committee, and we are helpful and responsible for goal 1 and 2. And we've made some significant progress for our deliverables, which you'll see outlined in C, which is the first, develop a practice by which the Public Health and Safety Committee would identify and approve relevant videos to be reposted on the city's Public Health and Safety webpage, as well as retain crime prevention videos. And then also, we always have a standing topic to identify and invite speakers from local organizations, which is helpful. We are tasked with holding a public hearing to review the Sheriff's Department's strategies to reduce tobacco among our youth. And we can deliberate maybe if that's a February event as well. And then we also have a deliverable for a draft a letter of support. I'll bring up what that is moving, and then also make some recommendations around the banning of sales vaping devices disguised as pens. So we've posted the minutes, and I'll just go in order. The first was a very successful meeting with Marie. We outlined a vision for what we would be trying to accomplish here. We reviewed the current messaging systems, and Alex and I picked up some action items, right? And those included reviewing media posts from the Sheriff's Department for possible inclusion on the social media platforms. Alex and I are to categorize videos that we find, and in the future, we're going to provide a list of those videos, and then those would be sort of reviewed, and as a commission, we would move forward sort of the types of videos that we'd like to have posted. And then Alex and I are going to we are going to do a gap analysis where we'll identify, missing content, right? And visionary, what we eventually turned to was that this list could be a repository, a standing list of videos that we've curated that the city staff, who has a robust system of doing media presentation, they could pull from this sort of curated list that we have of ideas, right? And make those available. So Marie really helped us get to that vision. And in the meantime, I know since we last met, we've provided a sample videos that I think Marie is prepared to show us. And then I'll just highlight the future actions that we're trying to take, which is we need to establish what sort of that criteria for the types of videos that we want to have in that list. And so Alex and I are going to kind of talk about how long should the videos be, what's the topics of the videos that we should be covering, how relevant, should we really be having videos that are like 10 years old or not? So just kind of come up with like a formal, so going into perpetuity, because I don't think Alex is going to be on this commission forever, but just that it could be robust enough that future commissions could sort of keep that process going. So basically establish an SOP for that. And then finally, we have a goal of possibly making it, Alex really likes the idea of 3 to 5 videos per month. Thinks that's a volume if that's possible. But the overarching consideration that we certainly got from Marie, which is all of our considerations need to be done with the idea of a relevant frequency that doesn't duplicate city staff efforts and also doesn't like make unburdensome work for the city, like we need to work with them. So I think, Alex, that's my sort of tee up. I do know that Marie could show what we've done. Alex, and if it's, I never know if we're supposed to do it now or later.
Yeah, I think that would be a great idea. I just wanted to preface by saying this is just an effort by the commission for outreach to the public and public education on current safety issues in our city. And, you know, I guess my vision would be, I don't know if it's possible, but I'm going to throw it out there for what I would really like to see is like a library of videos that people could access whenever they wanted to, categorized by particular topics in an effort to educate the public and communicate with the public. And it would be somewhere prominent on the city's webpage. And maybe even a way to alert citizens when new content is posted. So I know that's asking for a lot, but anyway, I think if you want, Marie, you can show some of these videos and kind of give the public an idea of what we're talking about.
Sure. Thank you, Commissioners. So let me start with kind of the discussion, and I want to definitely recognize Commissioner Dominguez. I know this has been something that he's been very passionate about for some time, so it's exciting that we're moving forward in this conversation. So what I want to show you is, because right now, this is a conversation that obviously the commission is having. It hasn't been approved by the commission to move forward. So what you're seeing is the public-facing side of the web page for law enforcement. So this sits under our public safety page for the city. What we're proposing is that we would have a link here, and again, somewhere I can work with Chief on how we prioritize this, but it would be public education videos. And from that, and this is a sample that my team member and so this is what Commissioner Dominguez and Morton were talking about, is they provided 3 videos for, let me make this a little smaller so we can kind of see this here, is they provided 3 videos. So currently this is just an example. And so it would be the public education videos from the San Diego Sheriff's Department. And the first one that we would highlight is, and if for just given our time, I just be able to show you, these are actually links out to YouTube videos. So this is on the Sheriff's Department YouTube site. So we're highlighting their Blue Envelope program. We're highlighting their High-Low program, as well as their International Overdose Awareness program. So right now, in talking with my team members within communications as well as IT, we're taking this approach of highlighting, 3 videos. And one of the things that I did talk about with the commissioners when we met, which is looking at which ones are some of those seasonal videos. I know Sheriff's Department has like holiday safety. They have other things that are, summer safety, things like that. So we could, potentially look at changing out these videos and making them seasonal. But I leave that to the commission to obviously discuss and as well as determine best forward steps. But let me know if you want me to click on any of these, but this, do you want me to do that?
Maybe just in the way of an example, like that
Sure.
last video.
Oh, you want the last
I
one?
mean, we could do, they're all pretty short, so.
Okay, I will do the last one.
Good morning. I'm Captain Chris Katra with the Sheriff's Office Special Investigations Division. In 2024, our deputies responded to over 500 overdose calls. 500. Some of those calls ended in tragedy, as you can see by the purple flags behind me today. Today, I want to speak about 2 efforts our office is making to reduce those tragedies. First, our harm reduction efforts. For several years, our deputies have been equipped with naloxone. It's a life-saving medication that reverses the effect of opiate overdoses. Often, our deputies are the first to respond to a scene of an overdose. Having naloxone and their ability to administer it is a game changer. I've witnessed it firsthand. Last year, our deputies deployed naloxone over 60 times. That's 60 lives that, without that life-saving medication, could have been lost, could have been a flag represented by us today. We also carry harm reduction kits and offer those to victims and families of overdoses. It includes this box right here with naloxone and a pamphlet with resources to get help. These kits were distributed 1,423 times last year. These kits are available at every sheriff's station and substation for free. Let me repeat that. They are offered at every station for free, no questions asked.
Marie, you can probably go to the first video,
While our
just
harm
give
reduction
people
efforts are vital in saving lives.
No, I was just saying, go to the first video just to save some time. It's just giving, the public and the commission an
It's now
example of
available
what
in
kind of
San
stuff is out there.
It's a new tool to assist law enforcement agencies and community organizations to better understand and assist members of the public with a condition or disability that may impact communication or require additional accommodations or awareness. Here's how it works. Individuals can display one of several items readily displaying the blue envelope logo. These items may be a physical blue envelope, wristbands, lanyards, stickers, pins, or other items available for free through our community partners or your local law enforcement agency. This allows a sheriff's deputy or police officer who sees the blue envelope logo to know an individual has a condition or disability requiring additional accommodations or assistance during a service call or emergency. There's also blue envelope branded products designed to carry important information, such as medical or contact details. Participation in the Blue Envelope program is free and voluntary.
Can you go to
For
the
more
second one,
information on
Marie?
the Blue Envelope program,
Patrol cars in San Diego County are now equipped with the high-low. This unique sound is different from sirens you hear when deputies and officers respond to emergency calls. High-low quickly alerts entire neighborhoods that they are in immediate danger. This warning system will be used during wildfires, flash floods, earthquakes, and other natural disasters, or critical incidents requiring the evacuation of a particular area. When you hear this sound, you must evacuate immediately. To receive evacuation notifications during an emergency, register your cell phone with Alert San Diego and Accessible Alert San Diego at
Okay.
alertsd.org.
Marie, I think
Follow
that's
your-
good. And there are so many videos, like the Sheriff's Department, I know of probably 50 different videos that are an effort to educate the public on a variety of issues. And so that's what this project is intended to put out there to the public. So Marie's been really good about helping us put this together. I really appreciate it. And yeah, I think that's all for me.
Any questions from clarifying?
No, but I applaud your efforts. Certainly, this was a big part of emergency management, so Marie's fits right in there, and certainly in this project, it's just how do you get the message out, right? That's the trick, and with the advent of social media and all those electronic platforms, you got to find the right ones. But I know certainly I applaud your efforts, as it certainly falls within the work plan, and it's a great idea. Marie mentioned doing seasonal videos, right? Fire Prevention Month in October or summertime, how to water safety, et cetera. So I think great idea, a lot of work that can be found here, and appreciate your work.
I will second that. You guys put a bunch of effort into this. I wanted to make sure that you would be providing videos and information that is current. Like I've heard you say quite a few times, you guys, there's 50 different videos. Are there 50 different issues in the city at this point in time? Is it something that we got to get up to speed with, or is it something that we keep it in check and we keep people's interest by getting what currently is happening? If it's Kratom, if the talk in the town is that, or whatever those topics are. Are you planning on following these current trends? Where will you be getting your information to be uploading these videos, or to be providing these videos?
Right, so the sheriff produces videos that are timely, depending on season or a particular issue. Many of the issues that, they're county-wide issues. So, I think we'll be looking to trying to identify those videos that are timely, seasonal, or like, the Blue Envelope program that doesn't really have a season, right? It's
Sure.
just out there. So it's just in the way of education. And, this is the beginning of it. We'll have to see how it progresses and see, how much the city can support on their web pages, this information. And then we'll have to come up with some type of a plan to review videos, and if in fact we're able to do this, review videos, have the commission maybe approve what would go out there, or recommend what could go out there. Yeah.
My recommendation is, as an advisory board, as somebody that meets now going forward 6 times a year, you don't want us reviewing individual videos. You probably are going to be better served if you're suggesting algorithms or direction to staff or something like that that's more of a guidance tool. And I'm sure we're all supportive of getting these kind of messages out there. They're certainly valuable to do, but I just don't know that you want us as a gate on something that's intended to be timely, given our meeting frequencies.
Yeah, well, I'm all for streamlining, trying to get these things out. It's fine. It's just we have to work within a system, and that system, I'm not sure about how that might work. But if I have no problem. I mean, these are videos that are already out there and approved by the sheriff's department, so I don't know that we really need to jump through another hoop. So I hear you.
I think an option there would be
Our future action item is line that is establish formal criteria for the Public Health and Safety Commission to use when recommending specific videos for the city staff posting. And Marie is like, we're balancing that. We certainly have discussed the idea of making sure that there's consensus among the commission that, it's not Alex and I spearheading it and all our decisions are done together. But your point is well made, it could become very tedious if we're reviewing 50 videos and signing off. So, but I think you can expect, from us, our vision is a listing of those videos to be prepared to you in advance. Well, we can't do that in advance. We can do it as part of the agenda, right? And then we'd open up any comments about what you don't want or whatever that looks like. And then once we get the consensus of what that looks like. So you're going to get an example, right? I would imagine, but I think we're working towards that. Marie?
Chair, is it okay if I go ahead and... So something I may suggest, and this did come up in our meeting, is that we can put together a calendar for kind of on the videos. Look at topics, look at kind of setting to kind of a frequency for those videos. Then I think that might be kind of a good step forward, and I can definitely work with Commissioners Dominguez and Morton on developing something that can be brought forward at a future meeting. But I think that would be something that I would recommend, because I know for staff and then also working with my other team members in the city, That was one of the things that we discussed, is just having kind of a calendar and then kind of knowing, doing some of the planning out. Because I'm just highlighting on our website currently, there are certain topics like e-bike safety. That's already something that we have here. We are probably not going to duplicate, what the Sheriff's Department has. So there's certain messaging and certain things that we already have a calendar of when we put things out. To Commissioner Moore's statement is like around emergency preparedness. We already have certain messaging that we push out, so I may make that suggestion that we put together a calendar of when we're going to be posting out in certain topics depending on the time of the year. Chief, I'm sorry.
And along with that calendar, I think to Commissioner Dominguez's point of having some kind of repository of a whole bunch of videos in there, I think that the best idea would be for you and Commissioner Morton to come back with a list of what all that repository might be, and then have it approved by the commission, and then we can make sure there is a library of those videos that you want to provide, as well as that monthly or seasonal calendar, if you will, that we can also push out on social media and make sure we highlight during those times. So I think that would be the next steps for the ad hoc, is come up with that list and what you want, and maybe work on that calendar, and then we can get it approved later on by the commission.
My question to you is, you've mentioned the sheriff is your resource. Are you going to other entities in the city and the county? Are you going to fire? Are you going to our experts down here, the health people? Are you looking outside of what these videos will be about?
I think it's a great point. I don't see why we should limit the scope to just sheriff's videos, right? If it's pertinent, it's timely, it's seasonal, it works, we should.
Sure. I mean, redundantly, I don't think we would want to see duplicated efforts, as has been already said, is that we're putting the same videos on, and there's already these videos, they're similar to one another. Vetting is going to be a big process for you guys to go through and see what's already there and what's missing.
I would
to stay current. Sorry.
No, I would just say this one thing. A key part that wasn't really talked about too is, there is a new communications manager, Alex, and so trying to understand what that vision is and how we fit in, and everything we do is like we're trying not to duplicate effort. It's well taken. Thank you so much.
Great.
I just, if I could, we did have a second meeting. In the interest of time, we went there really thinking about our deliverable, which is to have the sheriff come. We're going to do a public hearing around the sheriff's department's efforts to reduce smoking. That conversation quickly turned to a chief concern for Captain Watch, which is, he's really trying to reduce the number of DUIs. We wound up attending an event on the Wednesday before Thanksgiving that was done downtown. It is amazing what goes on downtown, the number of people. It's a big concern for the captain. And what the captain's asked is that Alex and I coordinate a meeting with the city staff code enforcement, the fire department, and the sheriff's department to discuss collaborative efforts for DUI reduction. And then the content of that meeting we would bring back to the commission in some sort of format that we would make a recommendation based on the result of that meeting. I don't know if that's changed, because Alex, maybe just briefly, if you want to talk about what that event was like, I'm going to give you like 3 minutes maybe, and maybe what you learned in that pre-briefing.
Yeah, so it was, they titled it Safety Detail, and it was really, really well done. It was headed up by the sheriff, but the fire department was there, and code enforcement was there. And I encourage all my commission members to go to downtown Encinitas on what they call Blackout Wednesday, or any night like that. Blackout Wednesday was before Thanksgiving, and all the kids come home. Well, there were so many people in downtown Encinitas that they were spilling out onto the street. It was amazing. And the fire department and code enforcement, the sheriff were there to, Well, to notify the establishments that they're over capacity, over serving. They actually had some undercover deputies in some of these bars that were down there. And they also had a table where they had the PAS machines, or the machines that they check DUIs for, and people were able to come up and actually blow into it. And it was more of another educational tool for them. And I think it was a great event in that it brought all three entities together to deal with the problem. And the city manager was there. It was really, really a collaborative effort that I think opened a lot of people's eyes to what happens in downtown Encinitas on those busy evenings. So it worked out really, really well. And I think all the entities are looking forward to an opportunity to deal with that again. So it's an effort to stop DUIs and stop the overserving and issues related to overcrowding down there. It's
Great.
Well done.
Were there any questions?
I just wanted to second a little bit the urgency and importance of DUIs and especially the tragic deaths we've had. Not all of them DUI impacted, but the pedestrians, the kids. It's just, we need to stop that. Anything we can do to make our streets safer for our families is important.
Definitely. Do we have any public comment?
There are no public comments for this item.
Great. Well, thank you. You guys have done a great job here. I like where it's going. I think staying current, staying specific to what's happening out there it would be the target. If you have these events that come up, let us know. I'd be interested in going. I knew about it, but I didn't know when it was. But I would like to see how that works and how it operates. Anybody?
I'll speak for, I think, Commissioner Dominguez. I think it's always an option at the Sheriff Department to request a ride-along. So if you haven't put out that form to do that and are interested in doing it, I think that there's certainly a pathway to see what the Sheriff Department's doing through that ride-along program.
Great. Anybody else?
No, I believe there are plenty of issues out there, so you won't have a hard time finding, some educational component in how to help the public with that. But yeah, good work.
I also appreciate everybody's involvement, getting out in the community, being a part of making a presence, listening, understanding, and also meeting people. It's important to us. It's important to be involved in the community. Also, listening to the council meetings, trying to grasp what's going on, what the direction is, and stuff like that. And right now, we've had two really good topics that we're aligning ourselves with what the city's needs are. So, and I think what the citizens are needing. So, I appreciate that. So. With that being said, we are moving on to the next item, which is the Fire Safe Council, headed by myself and Commissioner Andrade. I'm going to run through this pretty quick. We were given this task by the mayor and council. This started with the Palisades fire. We have new fire maps in our district. We have different districts that are affected more than others. And when we were given this, when we vetted this work plan to get some direction, it's a lot going on. I'd be first one to say that I got derailed a little bit a couple times, got realigned back into the work plan. But I'm going to make it really brief. We have been asked to create fire safe councils and fire wise councils. There's a bit of a difference. I'm not going to go totally into the difference between the two, but the fire safe councils really is more about our committee, our community, and we are going to head in that direction. We have attended many meetings internally with fire here. I've met personally with the sheriffs and their team, trying to get a take on what possibilities of the things that they're talking about, what their problems are, how they feel that we should all be working together with fire and with this commission, trying to understand what they want from us. We have talked quite a bit with Olivenhain. They have a pretty well-oiled machine out there. They have a great website. Sarah Lipton, she's been an amazing resource for us. She's extended her arms out to us. We have talked to her quite a bit. She's given us some very good leads of who to talk to. We've talked to people in Carlsbad that have councils, or community fire safe councils up there. And then we were led down the road to go to and attend the San Diego Fire Safe Council. It's a growing community. It is huge. There's over 50 different communities that are partaking in San Diego. Commissioner Andrade and I talked about Poway, Carlsbad, Orange County, many different people. We've dug deep into all these different areas, and I think aligning ourselves with San Diego, our partners, our county partners for the city, I think they offer the city a lot. The resources that they have, we can attach ourselves to them in funding. We could have internal sponsorships. So that is a huge part of putting these communities to work. And what I mean by the communities is basically we are looking at each district within the city. We're looking to place an ambassador. That ambassador will be for that district. We will get our information of how to kind of pass information on and to help assist, possibly through workshops or one-on-one, so they could train their people from fire to fire prevention and current activities. Now, not every city, not every district has the same issues. I personally, at this point in time, not really wanting to go and reinvent the wheel out there in Olivenhain. They've got it going. We're going to learn a lot from them. We are in talks with Olivenhain, asking them how we can assist them, how we can offer something back to them. Just in these short meetings, we found out stuff that they didn't know, and it's nice that now we're starting to share information within our city. And I don't want the city to be divided really into districts, but we do have districts that have different needs. So they will somewhat be tailored to. Commissioner Dominguez brought in a conversation that even though this is a fire safe council, well, you know, each district has all hazards. We have a lot of all hazard issues within the district. So possibly later on, we might be able to morph some of those all hazards into this fire safe council. But what I wanted to share with you is the benefits are basically teaching. We're trying to minimize risk. We're trying to increase the insurability of property. We're trying to forge partnerships. We're trying to accrue the resources that I discussed. The extent to join San Diego is an application process, and we are entering that process right now. And what that basically is, again, is we have to apply for it. We have to get interest in it, our residents interested in this. There's recruitment. We need to come up with a mission statement with community objectives. We need to demonstrate commitment and collaboration with partners. We need to educate each one of these communities to teach the rest of the communities. One of the biggest goals that I have is to provide some type of relief internally for fire and staff because they're so overwhelmed. So if we could take some of that off of their back and do some of this work by establishing this council, which will take quite a long time and there's quite a bit moving parts in it, hopefully that internally can help them. Outside of that, there'll be monthly general meetings, there'll be workshops, Again, we need to have 4 board members before we can apply for this, so we'll be reaching out to the community, looking for board members, and then basically fill out that application and submit it. There are some benefits to, if you are a member, that if you take these training courses and there's a minimum amount of hours, there are some insurance companies, homeowners insurance companies, which is a big topic right now, that possibly will offer some type of discount from $50 to $500, I've heard. And you take this, you get a certificate, and you supply it to your insurance company, and there might be some advantages there. Changing or helping our ISO rating, I don't know that it'll help that much, but it can't hurt to have these things established within the city. So that's where we're at right now. There is a 501c3 nonprofit that is a lot of work, and I'm going to ask Commissioner Andrade just to touch briefly on like if there's benefits or how that might take place, or how it could work to our advantage, things along those lines.
Yeah, regarding I think the path of least resistance initially, especially pending on interest as far as volunteers and community, because that's always, kind of the issue. And apparently it has been an issue as well as in Alevenhain. And so I think, we were kind of discussing, going with San Diego County's Fire Safe Council to start. And then if there is a lot of interest and we kind of get established and it's something we want to do is getting a 501c3 and, doing the paperwork and handling it that way. But with San Diego County, we would still be able to, if people wanted to donate, get the tax write-off, et cetera. I think, is that kind of what I think we were going to try to, if people were in agreement, go through, fill out the application, and kind of get started there. Talmadge had a great one. I've talked to Poway Fire Safe Council as well. So, I mean, there's a lot out there to pull from. And, ultimately, a lot of these issues pertain to everybody. So I think we can kind of keep it, somewhat broad. Home hardening, defensible space, evacuation. But basically, the idea is to meet the communication, the communication lines amongst the community. So then, and I think that's going to be the best thing about it, right, is if people want information, we'll be able to get it to them. And then with, all 4 districts, these workshops, we'll be able to kind of, delegate some of the work so one person isn't just, doing everything. And then, ultimately that, once it's established, it can be passed on, right? So that it's something that can continue, so. But yeah, I think that's kind of what we've been looking into as far as the, organization of it.
Great. And again, with the funding, that's really the big deal, is that there's costs that are associated with all this. City has a little bit to help us out with, talking to the city manager and with the 501c3. It offers opportunities to get money to apply for different programs, chipping programs, hardening home. There's so many different things that we've looked at. We will be attending these meetings regularly. They're once every month. It's amazing to listen to 50 different people on a round table get up and they get 3-4 minutes to share how much their communities have changed and what they've gone through. And being the new guy on the block at this meeting, there were people coming up, oh, how can we help you? Can we get involved? Like, hey, these are the hurdles that we ran into. The resources are amazing. The community part of attaching ourselves to that commission or to that group, I was very welcomed. So I feel good about it. Those are the steps that we're moving towards. And if you have any questions, please let me know.
I have a question. We have, you mentioned Alevenhain, that's a community. You mentioned districts. So the 4 districts of which, say, I mean, I live in District 3, so it's not, but District 4, most of it is New Encinitas, and a part of it is Alevenhain. And there are characteristics that are probably really different, a Livenhain versus the other part of District 4. And there are some areas that have cohesive communities, that have town councils that have been around for a long time and have a place to maybe to meet, and in some cohesion there. And there are other places that people are, or homeowners associations, and places where there aren't any. And so that's just to how this happens, because we're all at risk of fire. How do we make sure everyone is included in this appropriately? That seems to be a part that's tricky.
Yeah, that's a great question. And those are avenues that we're looking into is how do we reach our community citizens? We're going to probably lean on ambassadors that have these connections. I've asked the council members if I could have permission to have a list of the people that they campaigned with to help us get that information out. It's like the survey. When we took the survey in the beginning of the year for one of the workshops, in my eyes, it was just a very small percentage of people that responded to it. We're prepared for that, but the push is going to farmers markets. Sarah Lifton with the Levenhain, she goes redundantly to farmers markets. She's there with pamphlets. She's out there talking to people. She doesn't talk to a lot of people, but I will tell you, people will line up when something happens. You'll have all kinds of people wanting to get involved. So I hate to say it that way, but that seems to be the trend. But we will do our best through social media, through the city's resources, and through the people that we're talking to find out how they got started with the outreach to get in touch with these people. So again, these are beginning stages, and there's a lot going on. We're just finally getting a better sense of direction, and we will get more and more information the more we get involved with San Diego. And go from there. So, Chair Martin.
As a clarifying question, we are envisioning, are they calling them fire safe councils instead of, you bifurcate, right? It was going to be one, but it's the other.
There's fire safe councils and there's fire wise councils.
And we're going to be a fire safe
council.
Okay, and we're thinking of Levenheim plus 4 others.
At this point in time, we haven't made that decision.
Okay.
Our
recommendation.
Yeah, we've been talking to Sarah Lifton. We would have to go to the body out there to Levenhain to see, do we even want to establish that as one of the districts? Maybe we do 3 districts. But again, we're trying to build partnerships. So we don't want to eliminate her by any means. We want to collaborate with her. Mm-hmm. So maybe it is called the 4th district, and people that want to attend both will just be that much more educated, because I feel that we will bring things to the table maybe outside of what Levenhain's currently dealing with. So
it will be called the 4th district?
I won't clarify on that.
But
we don't know.
So just wondering, you're still deciding whether or not there's going to be 5 individual fire safe councils, or if there's just going to be one all-encompassing.
No,
because that's kind of what the question I'm getting at.
Okay. No, we would have multiple.
So yeah, perfect.
Yeah, we would have multiple.
All right.
So.
Just one clarification, and then just a question for you. I believe we moved to a cycle of in line with the city budget for our work plan. So we're now going June to June for our work plan, right? July to July. Okay.
So July 1st to July 1st.
So knowing that we have 3 scheduled meetings left before the end of that, do you, is this something in your mind that's going to roll over to future work plans, or is this something that you think we're going to be able to dial in?
100%.
So it'll be rolling in?
I've been asked by multiple people within our commission here, about timeframes. I don't want to get stuck on the timeframe at this point in time, but we do want to keep moving forward and to conclude some of these ad hocs. The ad hoc that I'm working on, the ad hoc that Commissioner Mora is working on, Commissioner Mora could possibly go on for years before it's actually being implemented. Mm-hmm. So, same with this. So as we complete these ad hoc projects, you might be attached to another, or maybe there's another fiscal year that has another set of things that we need to divide and conquer. So that's to be determined.
And thanks, this is more a comment than a question, but knowing that, I don't imagine that you're imagining special meetings to happen in order to sort of wrap things up by July. You're kind of imagining just a cadence of our current scheduled meetings and as that go, and that's probably same for all our ad hocs, like the homelessness is going to be ongoing and forever, and you can imagine just.
No, we're going to end homelessness by June.
So thank you.
Yeah. Well, again, I'm going to say it again. I'm trying to stick to our meetings that are scheduled, and unless there's something that is extremely needs to be taken care of. I mean, all these issues in the city are of importance, but I'm trying to keep to these agendas for this next year.
So you guys have 6 deliverables on this year's work plan. To Commissioner Morton's point, we're sort of halfway through the year. As the rest of the commission, how can we help you guys knock off as many of those 6 deliverables as you can?
Again, as I said just a few minutes ago, you have a dynamic project that you're working on. You have a lot of information coming at you. You're kind of having to deal with the entities in the city, new people coming into the city. You're bringing in that information, and until you're done with your business, you won't be attached to something. If Commissioner Dominguez and Morton finish up what they have, we will probably reassign them.
Oh, I'm not talking about a resource allocation model. I'm just, right, we as a whole are responsible for the full work plan.
Sure.
We're dividing and conquering to get pieces done. Hopefully we'll be well on our way after the February meeting if everything works. But as a commission, how do we all help the fire safe work stream deliver the deliverables over the work year?
Got it. I understand better what you're saying. I will, once we get a little bit more direction and we have things more in place, like possibly workshops outside of these meetings, we would encourage everybody to be involved. You as a resource in the district that you're in, great resource. We might need your help for recruitment to get things, or even an ambassador. So there will be time, that if you see where you could fit in and help out, I'll encourage it. So.
I was just going to say, volunteers, get the word out, and, see where interest lies. And people because that's what we're going to be needing is, people that want to be these neighborhood ambassadors and that want to be a part of it. So that would be from each district.
Great. Anything else? Do we have any public comment?
There are no public comments for this, or no public speakers for this item.
Okay. Anything else?
If I could just have an ask, in February, if we could see an outline of sort of like the steps. I think you did a really good job of like explaining it, but a document would really help to kind of etch out like what your path forward is and where participation and that. I'm sure you have something in draft.
Yeah,
so
I
look
have most of
forward
it
to
here that I'm following guidelines, but yes,
Yeah,
definitely.
excellent.
We will put something that is obtainable that you can actually read, so. All right, we are going to move on to the next agenda item, which is 8D. Commissioner Moore is going to talk to us about the ambulance program.
Good evening. I'd like to acknowledge the public for caring your community. Thank you for sticking around till the end here. Steve, or just touching on something, the project that I'm working on, goal number 4, this is a multi-year project. And currently we are in the inception of this endeavor. Chief Gordon and I met and looked at what our next steps are. And currently, Chief Gordon has reached out to several other folks that are either public safety professionals or have at some point entered into this area of emergency services. That is something that I am currently doing in my day job, bringing ambulance transport in-house. It's certainly a significant way by which to improve the level of service that your fire department provides to its residents. As such, our next steps are going to be to get together with those folks that Chief Gordon has or will be reaching out to and look at what the options are and what the best level of service delivery looks like. As such, again, the early inception of the program, and currently that is really all I have to report. That would be the end of report.
Can you remind us what the work plan deliverable is that?
Certainly. So this is goal number 4. I'm going to read it off the agenda here. Evaluation of a city-operated ambulance transport feasibility and community benefit work. Again, this is bringing emergency medical transport under the direct control of the fire department. Currently, the department collaborates with the county to provide that service to our residents, and the transport provider is AMR. There are certain opportunities that exist for a public entity to assume that level of service and not only provide a higher level of service to its residents by having direct influence on how you provide that service, how you deploy that service, and the folks that you bring in-house that deliver that service, as well as opportunities to recover costs. When you talk about public safety, we are not a for-profit entity. Public service, your fire department, our fire department, is there to provide a critical service to our residents. It's a very expensive service. I believe in the municipality where I work at, public safety accounts for about 61% of the general fund cost for a city. This is an opportunity for your fire department to again, deliver a higher level of service and recover costs. Being a public entity, you are entitled, or there are greater recovery options for a public entity versus a private for-profit entity, such as AMR, whom is the current provider here in the city. As we explore ways in which to improve, again, the intent here was to provide a higher level of service for our residents, a method by which to recover costs, and just provide a higher level of service. There are many steps that go into building such a system, and there are many options that are available to a city fire department in how to deliver that system, and that is the intent of the feasibility study. And that was kind of wordy, but I believe I answered the question.
Yeah, I think directionally. So when I'm looking at what we're sort of on the hook for by the end of the fiscal year, so 6 months from now, to either provide a policy level recommendation for further study or a policy level recommendation to move into pilot efforts. Am I right in assuming that we're vectoring towards a recommendation for further study?
That is absolutely right. That'll be the next step. Once Chief Gordon and I, we confer and decide what the best option was, a deliverable would be perhaps not the actual study. It took my department close to 8 months to accomplish that, but a direction in which that would be accomplished. So that would be the deliverable, perhaps by the end of this fiscal, if not shortly thereafter during the first quarter. I think so, yes. Anybody else?
Commissioner Moore, can you kind of explain, like our outside agencies, where they're housed? Are they going to be internal? Response times, like how the city would benefit from this?
Yes, certainly. Certainly, what you have, a document that all fire departments have, it's the standards of cover. That's how you deploy your resources. Currently, the city deploys its ambulances through adhering to that study. Again, as I mentioned earlier, currently we have an outside provider, AMR, American Medical Response, houses 2 units, I believe, that correct, Chief? 2 units here in the city of Encinitas. And those units are strategically located where the chief decides they need to be based on call volume and travel times. And a 911 call comes that requires an engine company, a fire department unit to respond, as well as that ambulance. Looking at the opportunities, the ability to recover costs, one of the realizations that I have found in my current position is that we can increase level of service immediately on day one for about 50% at zero additional cost, and with the ability to recover quite a bit of cost. So there is room for improvement. I think the call volume, and that's one of the things that we need to look at is call volume, where these calls come from, what are we call them hotspots throughout the city, and then you deploy your resources accordingly, knowing that we have to meet national standards in regards to our response times. One of the things that we do well in this profession is anybody can call us at any time of day, night, any day of the year, and you will have someone there to help you within 7 minutes. 7 minutes. That's pretty incredible if you look at it. You call it any time for any reason, and someone will be at your door within 7 minutes to help you. And that's the intent of this fire department or any fire department. That's the mission. And by taking this project on, it's just it's an opportunity for us to deliver a much higher level of service.
And will those vehicles be staffed by city personnel?
That is one of the options that Chief Gordon could decide. He could bring in employees to staff these city-owned units, be city employees, and have an opportunity to really reach out to the youth in the community and open opportunities for them. That is one of the goals of my current organization. But certainly, that is just one of the options that exists. That would be to bring the service entirely in-house. There are options that are called alliance models where you subcontract, similar to what you're doing today, what we're doing here today in town. And we just contract with outside agencies to do it, and we are the department would be the billing entity. There are many options that exist, and that is the intent of the feasibility study, and that's kind of where we're at right now, looking at what the best options for this city would be, and then present that to council and make a decision.
How long has this process taken you and National City to get from?
Well, we started having conversations about 5 years ago, but in reality, it's been about 3 years.
So that's a time frame that,
Certainly, it's been 3 years to get to this point. It'll take us another year at most to really be able to deploy. Our goal would be to do it, I believe, August of 2027. I'll be retired by then.
Right.
Commissioner, or Chair Shamskis, if I could add a little bit too.
Yes, definitely.
One of the goals is cost recovery, obviously, having a better service to our community, but there's also some opportunity there to use it as a recruiting tool. We have a lot of lifeguards that want to be firefighters, and to be able to either send them through paramedic school and then have a spot for them to land on an ambulance, and then help groom them into the Encinitas Fire Department and use that as a way to reach out to our local school districts and all those local people here that want to be lifeguards and then transition to the fire department. So it has a bigger umbrella, if you will, of trying to provide, yes, the highest level of service to our community, but also provide opportunities for a lot of diverse populations in our community to move up through the lifeguards and then into the fire service in a way that we can provide education and opportunity for everybody. And I think that's one of the untold stories of this ambulance program.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with you, Chief, than that. I'm actually interviewing one of your lifeguards tomorrow. So, yeah, I believe in this program. And certainly that is one way that I was able to really get my council's approval, was the fact that we can recruit from the community, because here in Encinitas, we're very lucky that a lot of our firefighters live in our community. Where I work at, that's very rare. And you have greater buy-in when you live in the home that you're protecting and your family's there. So I'm going to take one of them tomorrow. He's a good kid, but you can have the rest.
Yeah, it's funny because I met him the other night at a retirement event at National City, and he said, I live in Encinitas. I'm all, did you meet Commissioner Mora out there in the surf? He's like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm always recruiting. That's one of the things that I like to do. And there's more that you got that I'd like, Chief.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of
Leave
good
my
people
people
here
alone.
in the city to recruit from, so you better be on your toes. So,
It's
Yeah,
either
that's the end of
National
the report.
City
Any
or
more questions,
Orange
but
County.
certainly an opportunity to do better.
great. Are there any other questions?
I just had
Sorry.
a comment, sorry. Yeah, just am working both in the private side and now the public side, just for educational purposes. A lot of times in the private side, there's high turnover. So you're kind of, it's difficult to get that cohesiveness amongst the crew when you're constantly having different people, new people, and some of them are really excited and it fits great, and then some aren't, and then they leave, and you just kind of never know what you're going to get. And, you know, I've worked in the same community for 6 years now, and there are repeat, you know, people that are sick and they see a familiar face. It's really is, I think, huge for the community. And also, you know, with the levels of EMT versus the paramedic, that EMT level is a lot, it only takes a semester class, and it's that basic level. So for the youth coming in, they could be a driver on the ambulance and then get to know, and they can kind of, you know, bring them up through. And there's just more investment there. So just from an outside or inside perspective.
That's actually someone who's providing the service to this day, right? I'm just an administrator, so I focus on the cost recovery side and the level of service. But great points. Yeah, you need to have. You want to build a team. It's a team. It's a team deal for us.
Thank you. Do we have any public comment?
There are no public speakers for this item.
All right. Deliberation, anybody? All right. We are done with our action items. We'd like to move into the commission reports. Are there any commission reports?
I think I have something to say, but it's more in informational items, and maybe it's just a question, like, what are we covering here that wouldn't be covered in the action items that we just reported?
That's a good question.
I mean, I guess, is that commission reports, is that like us reporting on our subcommittee? Is that what normally goes in there? Just clarification. I could use that, is like, what's normally covered there? What kind of feedback are we asking for the commission here in that section?
I think with the commission reports, any other opportunities you had in the community that you weren't able to provide here in your ad hoc update, I think because we did an ad hoc update, you probably don't have a lot to say today, but it stays on the agenda anyway. So if we have the February meeting and some of the commissioners weren't able to speak about some of their meetings they've gone to or interactions they've had with the community, they can do that on the commissioner update. Okay. Do I need to ask for extension of time? We're about wrapping it up.
I think we're good as long as there are no objections from any of the commission members.
Great. Then we're going to move to our informational items, and Marie's going to give us a little information about the CERT training.
Thank you, Chair. So I'm excited to share with you, in addition to being the emergency manager for the city, I also manage the city's CERT program. So about 2 years ago, we put the program on pause to kind of evaluate it, make sure that it aligned with our volunteer program, the city's volunteer program, as well as kind of the CERT. And let me take a pause here and step back. For those of you who are not familiar with CERT, it is Community Emergency Response Team. It's a program that comes down from the federal government, from FEMA. We here in Encinitas, the fire department actually sponsors that program. So when the program was put on pause, it was really under the direction and leadership of Chief Gordon to give the city that opportunity to be able to evaluate our program. It started back in 2006. A lot of things have changed in the city and within the fire department in that time. So again, kind of aligning it with our city volunteer program as well as with the fire department, and then just making sure that we are adhering to FEMA basic cert training requirements. So with that said, what I've provided you, and also there's enough flyers for our community members as well, but we are going to be kicking off our CERT Academy on February 9th. It'll run through April 13th. There's actually a total of, thank you, Chief, of 25 spaces for the Academy. So I'm encouraging everybody to apply for the Academy. We are closing the applications on January 9th. Well, and for commissioners, the conversation that Chief and I have had is that we are holding 2 spaces for if there's anybody on the commission that is interested in, becoming part of our CERT program. I may encourage, if there are members that want to do this, is to submit your application. And because I think it's, especially when you're thinking about that public health and safety, CERT is a wonderful way, and what we provide training-wise is on, and what CERT does, it complements what the fire department does. It doesn't replace it. So it's not the goal to send you through an academy where if there is a accident up on El Camino Real and Encinitas Boulevard, that CERT would be responding to that. It's really the understanding of that if we have a disaster or emergency in the city, that CERT members would be activated. They can't self-activate. Either the chief or myself would activate our CERT members to help support, let's say, standing up a temporary evacuation point, a shelter, maybe assisting in our emergency operations center, but also the information that's provided in that academy from light search and rescue, medical operations. That information is also can be shared with your neighbors, with your family and friends. It really is that ability to be able to build out our resiliency as a city and as a community. So again, if you want to talk about this after the meeting, I will be here, but I'm really excited that we are going to be bringing the program back online. Chief, is there anything you'd like to add?
The only thing I would add is that it is a very valuable program for the community. I think before, when I ended up putting it on a little hiatus, it needed to be looked at in a way that, one, reduces liability on the city first, and then 2, provides the community with a real resource that could help in a real emergency, right? So this program, and with Marie at the helm, who has a lot of experience in working with CERT members and running CERT programs, I think we're going to be providing a really good service to our community, and hopefully education throughout the whole community on these little topics that can not only help us in an emergency, but help themselves first. When an emergency does happen, they'll be more prepared to help them, which means that the first responders, not they don't have to worry about them, but there's a less likelihood of us having to go help them. We can go to the neighbor that might need more help. So excited about the program, and just want to thank Marie for all her efforts in getting this back up and running.
Thank you, Chief. I do want to highlight that we do have a dedicated CERT program webpage under our public safety website. So just to kind of highlight, it gives information about the program, kind of the academy, how to apply. There is a link here, which I'm kind of, if you can see this is my cursor is over the top of this. It links out actually to our volunteer management application, so people can go ahead and fill in an application. That application, I get an auto email that says somebody's completed that application. The next step will be, and I've spent time today doing this, is contacting everybody that has filled out that application. Again, telling what the program is, what it is not. And when I say that is, if somebody is looking for CPR training, that's not part of the CERT training. So I would provide them with resources how they might be able to, find some opportunities for CPR training. So But again, I encourage anybody who's interested on the commission, but also I just ask if you can also promote this in your networks here in the city, because the requirement is you have to be an Encinitas CERT member, at least 18 years or older, to participate. Any questions from the commission?
I have a question. What, I see February 9th to April 13th. What type of schedule or commitment is that? Weekly?
So it's on Mondays, every Monday through in that time frame, except for February 16th. And the training is from 6 to 9 p.m. and will take place at the Community Senior Center.
Great. And then the other one I saw was 18 years of age or older.
Correct.
Yeah, I know. We had the CERT program in National City, and a lot of people involved. A lot of people really took pride and ownership in being a part of the community and pretty anxious to implement their skills. So.
That's because we have tacos.
Yeah.
We give them tacos, Marie.
How many current members do you have?
Because we're starting the program, as Chief and I have shared, the program was put on pause 2 years ago. So what we're asking of those who have come through the academy previously is they're going to be coming back through the academy. So right now, if you look at it, my goal is that when that graduation happens on April 13th, we'll have 25 people.
Is there a research? Is it only good for a year or 2 years, this commitment, or how does that work? Like,
No, great question. So once somebody comes through that academy, what we look for as far as a commitment is that we will be hosting, at least initially, quarterly meetings that will provide additional training for them. So what we say is, in developing this program, we want to develop a train and retain. So those that come through the academy will continue to stay engaged with the program. So it's either, as we call in the fire department, the blue skies, when we're not in disaster or emergency, they're supporting, the CERT program. And then with the ability, when we do have to activate our CERT members, if there's a disaster emergency, we have a good cadre of individuals, community members that we can draw on. So it really is, to your question, Chair, is that ability to be able to, they don't have to go back through the academy. But when we get to the academy in 2027, if we have people that came through the academy in 2026, by all means, they can, again, depending on space, they can always come back and kind of go through a refresher if there's certain units that they want to be able to refresh their knowledge on.
great. Yeah, this is a great alignment with this commission. I think they could be of a valuable resource to us. So if we don't have any other questions, do we have any future agenda items that want to be added by the commission?
If I could, I'm actually.
Oh, sorry.
I'm there, if I could. Just two informational items for you. So there's two ordinances that are in our communities that I'd like you to know about. Oceanside, and I'll provide the documents later. Oceanside has an ordinance restricting the sale of kratom, which we might want to, follow and see, although it may not be as necessary given the recent public health from California that we learned about in October there's no sales, but there's at least an ordinance out there in Oceanside for the restriction of the sales of kratom. And then secondly, San Marcos has implemented a ban on smoking in multi-using houses, multi-housing facilities. And that's an issue that's been brought up to us by our public comment that we should be looking into. So I think those two things will be part of the deliverable we have, which is reviewing the city's policies on vaping and smoking, and I think kratom actually falls in that as well. So, but those are just two things that you might turn your attention to and might want to get educated on in the future.
Okay, Commissioner Vaughn, you wanted to add future agenda item?
Yeah, two, I think. One is for the February meeting, the Housing Action Plan public review that we've promised in the work plan. And the second is the first of the enforcement statistics report from the police department.
Okay.
As two agenda items for the February meeting.
Okay. Do we have a?
could I ask a question about that? Is that also, it's part of the deliverable is a public hearing as well?
Our deliverables include both of those actions. One is the public hearing for the homeless action plan, and I think that in order to meet the city council's objective, we need to have that on our February meeting agenda. And then the second was the enforcement statistics, and I think we'd promised to do that quarterly. But I think, as getting that kicked off, if we get our first one of those in February, I think that's timely. And I think, having some police representation while we're doing the homeless action plan review, since they're so involved, is also useful.
So do you feel that we need to add that to the agenda, or is that just a part of your
No, those should be two specific agenda items.
that you'll be talking about? Well, that you'll be presenting?
No, the city staff will need to present both of those.
Okay.
So the first would be the Homeless Services Department would be doing the presentation of the draft homeless
Okay.
action plan
Got it.
to get our public hearing and our advice to council as we've promised them.
Okay.
And the second would be to give the first public exposure on the enforcement statistics from the police department.
Okay.
Can
Sheriff's Department.
I jump in just real quick? If we do it in February, it's not going to be a quarterly update. It's just going to be a 2-month. Just as information only, are you okay with it just being 2 months of the year, or?
I would defer to them on what statistics they want to present. I think our goal is to at least once a quarter have a public presentation. So what it is that they present, I think we should defer to the experts.
We also present to council on the quarterly as well with our numbers too. So I know that the 6 meetings aren't necessarily going to line up with the quarters, right? We're like a month ahead. So
Pick
just
one in each
information
quarter.
for you to have, that's all.
Can I ask a question too, in terms of informational items? I believe we're going into our 3rd year.
Yes-ish.
Yes.
We've kind of changed from calendar year to fiscal years this year, so.
Okay, and I'm wondering about, are there any commissioners that their terms are up?
I can answer that. Yes, Chair Morton, myself, Chair Selden, and Chair Mora need to reapply for the March. So I've received a application. I know Chair Mora has, and they have too. So you're still on the hook to stay with us.
Do we need a second for the future agenda item, or is that just happening?
Well, so let's stick to the agenda items, right? We're on that part of this thing, so let's try to keep the side conversations about other things. So the future agenda items are ready. I think that Chair Chesnowskis was already planning on what Commissioner Vaughn was talking about, but you can have that conversation now since we're in the agenda item, and then decide on if that's going to be 2 separate or 1 agenda item. That's the conversation right now.
I would recommend that we have 2 separate agenda items since it's 2 separate staff presentations.
And one of them would pertain to you, and one of them would pertain to.
They're both under the homeless action plan, so I think that there might be a third that's being contemplated.
And I would just recommend, given the importance, the volume, the focus, I mean, it's up for discussion, but I think, deferring our original plan of the 2 public hearings might be, warranted. So I would think that we can add it as a future agenda item, but I wouldn't think, if everyone's in alignment with that maybe we focus on the homeless action plan and what Commissioner Vaughn is suggesting, and that we kind of take an extra 2 months to have the call for that.
If I could make a suggestion, and it's up to you guys, obviously, but with the sheriff's presentation, that can just be a presentation at the beginning of the meeting, and then we can roll into the agenda afterwards and have the public hearing of the HAP after that, if that would work for you. There'd be no public comment on the sheriff's presentation. You could talk about that presentation and then move on to the agenda report afterwards. That's just one way we could.
Yeah, no, I think looking up at the deliverables we have, I don't think it was a public review. Well, I guess it's public review, but it wasn't public comment specified, right? So I think as long as that satisfies the spirit of the agreement with City Council, I'm comfortable with that.
Okay, then we'll work with Chair Wisniewski to put that agenda together, and then I would just defer back to the chair to see if there's any other agenda items.
I think you might have heard from Commissioner Morton that for the April meeting, he's angling for a public safety hearing.
It is the future, but I'd rather stay on task with that February meeting as of right now. Like, what would be the purpose of pushing this so far out?
Well, I think we've learned, one of the driving forces of it is a discussion about kratom, and we've gotten some new information from the state where there's now banning of the kratom, and so there's a implementation in place. There's something that's there. The spirit of it is just knowing the conversations that need to happen, and it's a public hearing, and people are very passionate about it, and it's very important, and I don't know that a full discussion could possibly happen. And then we're also asking the sheriff to show up for one meeting and give 2 presentations, which in one sense is great, because it's one meeting and it's 2 there, but at the same time, it's also, extra work for him to do in light of really, which is a key thing for him is the DUI. So that's, I think it's an important topic. I think it deserves its own attention. And I'm certainly weigh in any other commissioners on what makes sense to them.
I think logically it makes sense to split the 2 time-intensive public hearings and supplement as time is available with some of these regular update type conversations, make sure that we're notifying each other and
Sure.
doing things that are a little bit less time intensive, or if we roll over, we're not keeping everybody away from dinner.
No. Anybody's thoughts? I like what the chief had presented, having that presentation up front. I think that seems like a good way to go. And if they're going to be here, and they're going to be speaking in behalf of your ad hoc, I would think that would be the time to do it too.
Are you talking to me?
Yes.
Okay, because they're here to talk to his comment. We're asking him to talk on my comment as well. So that's okay.
Yeah, I guess I'm a little bit confused about what you're asking then.
If I can try to say that. In our work plan, we have 2 public hearings, which
Sure.
would be public comment, lots of debate. They could extend and push our 2-hour limit pretty easily. And so I think what Commissioner Morton was suggesting was do the public hearing for homelessness in February, do the public hearing for public safety in April. Those would be the big ticket items on those meetings. And then we could use what time is left over for our work plan updates and ad hoc committee updates and things that would be less time intensive, if that's what you were suggesting.
I understand. Is this something that we can talk about and add to the agenda?
Yeah, I believe since you're the chair of the commission, you run the agenda. So this will be up to you. It doesn't go to a vote of the commission, and you run the agenda. So if you want, we can have a discussion on public hearings, and we can give you some more information about the public hearings, and then you can make a decision later on if you'd like.
I would prefer that at this point in time. I would also like to know, and I don't know that you know right now, but the information that you're going to be presenting, what is that format? How much is going to be talked about? How deep are you going to go into those discussions to decide whether we need to divide this up into 2 separate months?
Yeah, so honestly, We haven't had a conversation directly with the city staff that are responsible for developing the homeless action plan, at which they were willing or able to tell us a timeline. So I'm inferring from the public conversation at the December meeting between City Manager Campbell and Mayor Ehlers, where City Manager Campbell agreed to bring back the homeless action plan to City Council by about the end of February, so that it would be in place for the planning activities in the spring, that she was therefore committing staff to be ready to do that. My intention would be that we're leveraging that commitment in order to meet our public hearing commitment to the City Council. And we'll, of course, be reaching out to staff and offering whatever assistance we can in their development of that. But this would really be a staff presentation to us listening to public comment, us deliberating amongst ourselves, and making recommendations to City Council as we've promised in the work plan.
Okay.
I would just add that if the staff working on the HAP is going to be presenting to the council, the presentation to you would be after the council. So it's not going to come to this commission before it goes to the council, so we'd have to look at the dates on how that would fall.
So I think that's contrary to our work plan and the recommendations. If it would be kind of silly for us to have a public hearing on something that City Council already acted on in order for us to make a after-the-fact recommendation to City Council.
Yeah, but the direction from the city manager to staff was not to bring a homeless action plan presentation to this commission. It was to the city council, right? So I can double check on how that is, but the city manager did not direct staff to bring it here. So I have to get direction from my boss, the city manager, to make sure that that is how it's going to work.
Go ahead, Chair Martin.
I mean, it says hold a public hearing to review the draft HAP update and forward with recommendation to City Council. So I think that's what we're asking to do.
There's nothing that says that you cannot do that after the council has already been given their presentation, though. They're getting a presentation of it, and then you guys can also get one.
I think your role here is to help us to support us in our mission. And I think our mission is better served if we have that review before the recommendations are given to City Council so they can consider our deliberation. And that is...
I would agree, but the HAP staff is not under my direction or your direction. So if the city manager gives them the direction to give you a presentation, then I can do that.
Okay.
But I can't step outside of my lane to make other staff give you a presentation that I don't have the authority to give. So
Well, that helps me very much because it clarifies. Sometimes like the first time I feel like I'm not getting what I'm asking for, I kind of put up a wall. So what I'm hearing you say is that you're absolutely going to try to help us support us, but unfortunately you have a lane that you have to follow, and we don't know if city staff is going to be aligned with my understanding, which it would be better served for us to have this before the meeting. And unfortunately, you don't have the power to sort of run their agenda as well.
That's why I said I can go and ask,
Yeah.
but I can't.
Thank you for that.
guarantee.
Actually, really helps clear it up for me.
Yeah, definitely. We are, I'm going to side on the fact of us finding out the information from the city manager first before we move forward with it. But it's been considered, and I understand what your ask is. So let us get the information from the chief, and we'll be all notified of direction, whether we're going to add it in that format or not. So.
In the interest of making it more difficult, if we're not going to have the public hearing on the draft HAP update for whatever reason, right, I ask that we know, and we can go ahead and have the public review to meet the what's required here underneath the safety. So if you can please add that to your consideration. So
Sure.
I think we should walk away having, some sort of public review in February. Either it's going to be, the safety one per outline, or it's going to be,
Well, that's also something that we can adjust. Maybe we take maybe our ad hoc presents before your ad hoc if things aren't not aligned. I'm not going to jump ahead of the game. I'm going to listen to what the chief has to say. I'm not going to predict what the future offers. We're going to listen to what his lead is, and then we'll make an educated decision of what direction is. But as of right now, what's on the agenda will stay on the agenda until everybody has been notified. But that's my personal take on it.
So the current agenda doesn't have anything, but you're thinking about putting both, currently you've communicated, you're thinking about putting both public hearings in February.
That was the initial thought, yes.
Yeah, so to the extent that the chair sets the meetings for agendas, and to the extent that item 11, future agenda items added by commission members, I would like to take the future agenda items added by commission members opportunity here with consensus of 2 or more commission members, assuming I have a second, to request the half agenda activity at the February meeting and the public safety stats on enforcement at the February meeting. And if we have a second, let's log that as an outcome of this item 11 here. And then whatever constraints city staff tie your hands with, we recognize you're going to do your best. But just to register,
Sure.
I would like to make that as a motion and hopefully have a second.
It's not a problem. If you'd like to get on that, we can, if anybody seconds it, we can go from there, and then, again, we will get direction from there and adjust it accordingly.
Can I ask a question first? I'm confused because I thought that we didn't want them both in the same meeting because it would take more than 2 hours.
So I'm requesting the 2 for homelessness, the enforcement statistics report, which wouldn't necessarily be a public hearing, but as Chief had suggested, do it and then the actual public hearing that we've promised in the work plan.
Okay.
Do I have a second?
Okay, I'll second.
Okay. Anybody, anything else? All right.
I'm sorry to do this to you. Just I don't know if it's worthy here, but just to kind of call out. Alex and I are going to be coordinating a meeting with the city staff, code enforcement, the fire department, and the sheriff to discuss collaborative efforts for DUI reduction. So I don't know, do I report that out now and make that on a future agenda item and get it there that we're going to talk about that? Or does that just become part of our ad hoc? Or, you know, I feel like that meeting's going to happen between now and February, and I want to be able to talk about it. So how do I make sure I can talk about it in February?
Yeah, so we'll have that meeting, and then when we get to the commissioner updates, you can update on the meeting that you had. And
Excellent. Thank you.
That's a good time for them.
Okay. No need for that. So thanks.
Okay.
My understanding is that the requirement was that we have 2 commissioners that request it, and then that gets registered as a future agenda item.
Well, see, here it
Ding.
is, something to.
I think as you worded it as a motion and there was a second, to be on the safe side, we can go ahead and call for a vote.
Okay.
Motion passes. Thank you.
Great. All right, well, thank you, everybody, for your hard work. I appreciate everybody being here, putting the time and effort into it. I really appreciate it. I feel like we're moving forward in a good direction. I know there's a lot of time from your daily schedules to be taking your time up, going to these meetings and being a part, but I'm hoping that it doesn't go unnoticed, and it's definitely not going unnoticed by me. So thank you again. With that, motion to adjourn?
No motion. You just do it.
Perfect. Thank you.